speaking of Warhammer, guys, we have some news on the Warhammer front where Henry Cavill, who was announced that he got the rights to Warhammer 40K, they just came out and said that Amazon has officially greenlit a TV series based off of Warhammer 40K that Henry Cavill will not only be producing, but starring in. And this is kind of like a big deal because famously, Henry Cavill got kind of screwed over on The Witcher because he was a fan of the source material and he was playing the lead character. And then the woke showrunners basically decided to make it about feminism and women and girl power and all that other stuff, and basically sidelined the main character of the show. And it got to the point where Henry Cavill was basically quit The Witcher to move on. And Warhammer 40K is something that he's been passionate about since he was a little kid. And now he gets to basically, in an Instagram post, he announced that he convened a writer's room where he's been working with some creatives and also Games Workshop to basically go through all the Warhammer lore and figure out, okay, what's the story we want to tell? And they settled on something. They pitched it to Amazon. Amazon loved it. And so it is now going forward. However, Amazon is kind of a mixed bag because we also have, like Rings of Power, we have Citadel, we have all these shows that should have been amazing that basically just got mishandled. There's been no showrunner announced for 40K, but I assume that Henry Cavill, being a producer, has a say in who comes on board to run the show. Dutch, you played the latest Warhammer 40K game. You're kind of versed in the lore.
Not really, but okay.
Are you excited about a Warhammer 40K original series on Amazon?
I'm excited about it if they can actually pull it off and do it right. I mean, that video we just saw on a secret level, if they can pull that off with live action, I mean, that's what we come to expect now. And if Henry Cavill can do that, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be really, really cool. Do I think they can do it? I don't know. I have my doubts, but we'll see. We'll see how much Amazon can leave their fingers out of it and let Henry do his thing. And if he can do his thing, then it's going to be fantastic. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Brian, do you think that there's a danger of this thing getting hijacked by wokeism? Because Games Workshop has proven that they're really into that type of thing.
Of course it is. And
Games Workshop is not woke. Games Workshop is anti-woke. It's not Games Workshop where you're going to have the woke problems come from.
The studio portion.
It's going to be the studio and Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the studio, although I'll give Amazon this, they are very good at allowing the people they hire to do the job do whatever they want, even if that's a bad idea. So you see shows that are produced by companies like Scott, like Reacher and I mean, there's a lot. Amazon has a lot of good shows, and often good shows really shine because they're not being bothered by the studio, and the bad shows really don't shine because they weren't bothered by the studio. So to be fair, Amazon's pretty good at allowing whoever they hire to do that particular job do their job. So it's possible that we get a really good show with Henry Cavill able to do his thing, able to really capture the character. He loves Warhammer. Do you ever see that video of him painting Warhammer figures? It's awesome. The guy's a super nerd that's jacked. It's pretty cool.
It's one of the fun things about him is that he's an actual nerd. And when he just shows what he's like, hey, look, I built a computer. He just happens to look like Henry Cavill. Yeah. That's what he's interested in. He's like every other, but everyone else.
You have this massive hulked out dude. And he's painting a little war figure. He's like, this one right here is where the blue thing. I'm like, it's so weird. He's painting Warhammer figures. And it sort of sucks because the Witcher series, that he was into it. He loves Witcher. They actually complained about him not socializing with the cast and instead playing video games, aka Witcher, in his trailer. They complained about him not hanging out and being a part of their little club, and that he was disconnected because he didn't want to hang out with a bunch of woke feminist chicks, and he'd rather play video games with his boys. I mean, he's the definition of us. And he didn't get a chance to do what he wanted to do on that. I think that he was able to throw his weight around a little bit and make that show really good. Like the first season is really good, mostly. And I think that it got really insane with how much pressure he had to deal with the people on the set that want to do what they want to do. And you know what's funny is like going back, we did a deep dive on this, going back and reading all the articles and all the write-ups and all the little things that were coming out at that time. I think Henry Cavill was straight up just sexually harassed by these people nonstop. And they complained when he didn't reciprocate, you know, that he didn't spend time with them, that he didn't, you know, he wasn't into their advances. How often at one point he said, he goes, I don't really want to do another scene where I take my shirt off for no reason. And I'm like, what is going on with this production? A bunch of thirsty cat ladies over there that don't care about the game, don't care about the lore, and they just want to get as many scenes as they could with Henry Cavill's shirt off.
Which is understandable.
I mean, it's
why you would want
understandable, but
that.
like flip the script though. Like let's say like put a bunch of horny dudes incels that in their entire purpose is not to make, you know, Bridgerton or whatever, but instead just get all the characters' clothes off. It's like it would be it's a little insane the second you flip that around. The one of the complaints that woman had was that he didn't want to socialize with them. Look, dude, actors, employees, people that work for you don't have to socialize with you. If we're doing a job together, we don't gotta hang out. I gotta do my job, and I'm gonna go back to my trailer and play some video games. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Yeah, and Henry Cavill in particular, I think he took he took issue with the fact that they kept making him take baths, right? Or like he would have to like get naked apparently.
Why are we in the bath again, you guys? What's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a bath in the middle of like the woods. I don't get it. Shut up, Henry. Get in the bath.
Exactly.
Light the candles and get in the bath.
Clothes off, chest out. Let's go.
He's like, look, we still need to keep doing this take. The water's getting cold. I'm almost there. I mean, we're almost there.
But Sean, you know what's interesting about Henry Cavill is like he's actually never done anything that kind of warrants his like star status. Like, yes, he did Superman. He was known for Superman, but like the Superman movies that he did, like they didn't like break box office records or anything like that. It's just that he's such a cool guy that a fan base kind of formed around him, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, to give him basically the keys to this show where he hasn't really produced anything before, right? But he's so passionate about this project and he has the nerd cred to pull it off that a lot of people are excited to see what he's going to come up with. Do you think that under his supervision that this show is going to be any good?
That's the reason I have kind of faith in it. And as you said, he has this very strange version of stardom where his level of fame actually exceeds his successes, but it's like people want him to have that win. I only watched The Witcher because he was in it. I haven't played the video games or read the books. It was like, oh, Henry Cavill's running around swinging a sword. Oh, I'm going to check that out. Wait, he's leaving the show? I guess I'm checking out. I didn't even watch season because like, what's the point?
Yeah, same. That's the point.
And like, I haven't played Warhammer, but as soon as he says he's interested in it, now I'm interested in it. And to a lot of what Brian said, Amazon seems to let the quality of the showrunner, the worldview of the showrunner determines what that show turns out to be. And so they've allowed there to be a number of kind of these throwback action shows that are like all those action thrillers we got in the 90s. They're now TV shows on Amazon Prime that are not doing anything to cater to 20-year-olds on Twitter or anything like that. They are designed entirely for me.
Blue Sky now. Blue Sky.
Yes. It's so they'll allow that to happen, but then of course, then you also have Rings of Power, which they allowed that to happen. And so the idea that they're hiring him and he is so passionate doing the writer's room, like that sounds like it's promising. What were you saying?
I was saying, here's billions of dollars. Do whatever you think is best.
Yeah, kind of like that's almost like that's what they did with Rings of Power, like $1 billion, run and do a thing. Oh, it's terrible. And it's not at all what Tolkien fans want. Oh, well, we'll let you do it. But then Reacher's going on in the same studio right down the hallway. So that you have Cavill as the producer, that he is the guy painting the little deals, and that he has had these bad experiences, that by now he would know what to notice. Like, he knows what are the good signs, what are the bad signs. He did The Witcher. He saw how that went. And so he's probably going into this with much more cautious, wanting more control, and being able to say, they sound crazy and they don't even like the IP. Why would we hire them?
Yeah, Odin, Amazon has a really bad track record of spending tons of money on really substandard fare. And to Dutch Butter's point, like, they need to be able to do Warhammer 40K right. So, like, they're going to have to spend a lot of money on this sucker. What do you think is going to be Amazon's like take on this? Do you think they're going to throw some money at this thing, or is this going to be one of those things where basically they don't get the support that they need in order to do it right?
Honestly, after Rings of Power having now been a thing and them wasting so much money on it when there's clearly just nothing to it and no actual fan base, I cannot fathom why they wouldn't give him all the money that he requested. Like, I just really can't. Like, if they're going to go ahead and justify all of the money that they're wasting on Rings of Power for an audience of maybe a few people, like in the grand scheme of things, and then they're going to shun a project like this where you actually do have a dedicated fan base, you have a dedicated showrunner, someone who is going to clearly do right to the property, bring a lot of people along with him as well, it would really be stupid of them to not give him at least a modest budget, at least basically something that he can actually and all the creatives behind it could actually work with to create the best possible product for it. And again, I think really it comes down to this really being anything Amazon related in the future. It's like they're going to have to put their money where their mouth is, because there's no reason for them not to. And the other thing is, as someone who follows box office stuff, what I will say is that it seems like Amazon does not really have as much of a problem shelling out money. Because you look at some of these films that they have going through MGM, and it's like hundreds of millions of dollars for these properties that are not making anything. They're not really bringing anybody to their platform, not really bringing anyone to the box office. So honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they do get almost all they want, because it seems like they're acting as a company that has an infinite amount of money. And I suppose when you're like $1 trillion corporation, yeah, maybe you do have that kind of money to throw around. But at some point, you got to make some money back. And so this sounds like it'd be a much smarter investment, one that we'll actually possibly get newer users on the platform, keeping the fans happy, having more people using your overall Amazon ecosystem that are not already potentially using it. And I think it would be a huge win for them to do it.
That's where, like, some of these, it's where you realize it, like, with these corporations, Amazon, Apple, that are $1 trillion companies, their movie division, it's like their hobby, and $200 million is their blow money that they're just throwing around. Like, some of these Apple movies, like $200 million towards that, or like you said, Red One, $250 million towards something that's like, what? What? Who thought that this could possibly be profitable? Just throwing money at it. But Fallout, they threw a ton of money at that. And so I think that they do give money to their projects. So I think they will. They'll give it to terrible ones. So hopefully they'll give it to this good one.
Yeah, it's called money laundering, Sean. That's what it comes down to.
You know what I noticed? You know what I noticed about Henry Cavill movies? And you can go back and look at every one of my reviews. Every one of my reviews, the biggest complaint I have, if the movie is decent, is that there wasn't enough Cavill in it. Like Ungentlemanlike Warfare, whatever that movie was. Like,
It's true.
I was sold Cavill, but then half the movie was about someone else. So I was like, it's a bummer. The one with Matthew, I forgot the movie. It's about a cat lady. Anyways, that movie,
the spy movie
about the cat lady, it was sold as a Henry Cavill movie, and he was in it, but not really the character.
Argyle.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. But my biggest complaint in every one of these movies is that there's not enough Cavill, and I don't really understand it, because every time he's on screen, it's awesome. He's great. He's super charismatic. So I really hope that with this show that we do with Cavill, that they allow Cavill to shine, because I'm a fan of Cavill. I just hear Brian's really thirsty for Cavill. Yeah.
But aren't we all?
I don't mind the bath scenes, okay? As long as they keep coming out.
Brian has the bath scene from The Witcher on loop.
That's right.
Constantly.
It's actually
Don't
my
we all?
screenshot on my phone.
It's a good scene.
Yeah, but you know, Odin, what's interesting to me is that MGM Plus, which is, you know, basically creating a lot of originals for Amazon, they have some really good shows on there. Like From is probably one of the best shows I've seen in a long time. But then you have stuff like Citadel, which was just like pure crap, right? But it costs
And
like
there's
600
three
million.
Citadels already. They had 2 different foreign language Citadel spin-offs come out in the last 2 months. Like that's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah, and they're all in foreign languages, and
Yeah.
it's like who's watching this
Right.
stuff?
Like casually, let's throw out this thing, and you're like, Citadel has 2 different massive budget spin-offs? What are you doing?
And it's weird because it's French and Indian or
Yeah.
Hindi, right?
Yeah.
So like I think they're trying to hit like those, you know, especially the Hindi market, but
Mhm.
at the same time, like you're like, why are you throwing good money after bad? Nobody cares about this franchise, right?
Yeah.
So
Like it has
I don't know.
nothing unique to offer. It's just expensive spy stuff. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it really just shows you that how much F around money they have. Because any other company that we can think of, even like major ones like Disney, when we hear about all of the massive flops that they had, especially back in 2023, and how little success they've had in a lot of their films over the last several years, with really only this one being the one where they finally had a bit of a comeback, we were like, okay, how long can you really sustain this? Whereas if it happens to a company like Amazon or Apple, I have the same idea. It's like, okay, you can't just run at a loss forever, but then at the same time, it's like they are still making crap tons of money through these other properties that they have and these other ways, outside of filmmaking, outside of TV, that they're able to make all this money. So yeah, maybe is there even an endpoint for them? I don't know. I mean, I would have thought $1 billion wasted on Rings of Power would be enough, but apparently not the case. Gosh.